Good morning. I am Adibare Jumakide. The midday news. President Bola Tinubu has dispatched a delegation led by a Nigerian diplomat, Babagana Kingibe, to engage with the leaders of Libya and Algeria on the crisis in Niger Republic, where a military junta overthrew democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum. This is as he sent another delegation headed by former Nigerian head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, to Niger to speedily resolve the current political impasse in the country. Briefing the two delegations, Tinubu, who is the chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, charged them to engage all stakeholders robustly to do whatever it takes to ensure a conclusive and amicable resolution of the situation in Niger for African peace and development, rather than a move to adopt the geopolitical positions of other nations. Speaking after the meeting, Abdulsalami said the delegation would meet the coup leaders in Niger to present the demands of the ECOWAS leadership. The Nigerian Labour Congress has warned that it will commence a total strike beginning from Monday, 14th of this month, if federal government refuses to withdraw the court summons to Congress latest by Friday next week. According to NLC, the Federal Ministry of Justice, through the NICN, has continued to allow itself to be used as a vehicle to truncate the dominance of the tenets of democracy and silence the voices of Nigerian workers by serving a summons on the leadership of the NLC and TUC to answer to contempt of court charges, despite the provisions of the constitutions to the contrary and the objective realities. This is part of resolutions reached at the end of the National Executive Council meeting of the NLC, contained in a communique signed by its president, Comrade Joe Ajero, and General Secretary, Comrade Emmanuel Ugbaja, in Abuja. This came as NEC in session also resolved to suspend its nationwide mass protest while keenly watching the National Assembly and President to keep their word of attending to issues around the hike in petroleum price as agreed on or before 19th of this month. The Federal Ministry of Health has directed the chief medical directors and medical directors in the federal tertiary hospitals to implement the no work, no pay policy on the striking members of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. According to the Secretary General of NAD, Dr. Kelechi Chikeze, the government also directed the hospitals to maintain an attendance register for all resident doctors willing to work. It would be recalled that NAD embarked on an indefinite strike on July 26 this year to press home its demands. The doctors are demanding the implementation of the one-for-one replacement policy for health care workers. The Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria to discontinue the downgrading of the membership certificates issued by the West African Postgraduate Medical and Surgical Colleges, the immediate payment of all salary arrears, the implementation of the consolidated medical salary structure, a new hazard allowance, and the domestication of the Medical Residency Training Act, among others. About 512 directors in the civil service who have spent 8 years on the directorate cadre may be forced out of the service subsequent to the implementation of the newly revised public service rules by the federal government. Reports assert that the head of civil service of the Federation, Folashade Yemiesan, while unveiling the revised public service rules during the civil service rule, noted that the implementation will commence immediately. She also noted that the rules were revised under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, but the launching was delayed until President Bola Tinubu took over in line with the renewed hope agenda. The public service rules, which takes effect from 27th of this month, was launched by the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation in Abuja. The new rules also introduced a tenure policy for permanent secretaries who are now required to spend 4 years in office, which is renewable subject to performance. The Federal Civil Service disclosed this to newsmen that the new rule is expected to affect as many as 512 directors who have stagnated on their position for 8 years or more. A security operative in Nigeria has intercepted an allegedly stolen vessel laden with suspected crude oil in Koko area of Warri North local government area of Delta State. The operatives, owned by SY leader of Niger Delta agitators, Chief Government Ekwemukulo, popularly called Tumpolo, who recently got a contract from the federal government to protect oil and gas pipelines. Recall that an ex-Niger Delta agitator, Asari Dokubo, had told the world at the State House, Abuja, after meeting with President Bola Tinubu recently, that some corrupt military officers were tactically involved in the stealing of Nigeria's crude oil. The operatives, who was said to be on a routine patrol, said the vessel was flying a Togolese flag and was being escorted by a Navy boat led by the senior naval commander. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, authorized they should inspect the vessel. The vessel was dictated to be carried by the Navy, but did not have any approvals from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. And now to sports story. Nigerians, the Tigers, will face 11-time African champions Senegal in the final of this year's FIBA Women's Afrobasket in Kigali, Rwanda. Reports indicated that in the second semi-final played, Senegal defeated Mali 75-65 to reach the final for the first time since 2019, while the reigning African champions, the Tigers, outclassed host Rwanda 79-48. The last time the Tigers faced Senegal in the final was at the 2019 edition, hosted by Senegal, which the Nigerian team won, while Senegal last won the FIBA Afrobasket in 2015 when they defeated host Cameroon in the final. The final between the Tigers and Senegal will hold tomorrow. We now move to foreign story. President Mohamed Bazoum calls on international community to help country restore the nation's constitutional order. Niger's ousted President Mohamed Bazoum has called on the international community to return his government to power, warning of devastating consequences for the world if the coup against him succeeds. In a statement made available to newsmen, Bazoum, who was deposed last week by the military, said the United States and the rest of the international community must help his country restore the constitutional order. According to him, the coup launched against his government by a faction in the military has no justification whatsoever and should not be allowed to succeed. Bazoum, one of a dwindling number of pro-Western leaders in Africa, said the West African country has been a beacon of hope in a region plagued with violent extremism. He added that the entire Sahel region could fall to Russian influence via the Wagner Group, whose brutal terrorism has been on full display in Ukraine. Niger, which gained its independence from France in 1960, has been viewed as one of the reliable partners of the West in fighting extremist groups in African Sahel region. The West African country, which borders 7 countries including Libya, Chad, and Nigeria, is the largest recipient of U.S. military assistance in the region, having received an estimated $500 million since 2012. That ends the midday news on OSBC TV. Join us at 3 for the state news. The bulletin was edited by Michael Adeniyi. Good afternoon.